If you're like me, you've likely experienced times in your life where prayer just didn't work. Now, in this video, I'm going to share with you proven effective ways to achieve 100% success rates with your prayers. No, this isn't an exaggeration, and I know that you're watching this video will demonstrate this to you. It'll be so obvious, so practical. Rewind to a few years ago in my life. People were telling me, just as I'm telling you today, Nathan, you create your reality. You can make a change in your life. Whew, oh boy. Man, I got so pumped. Man, I got so hyped, and I just started reaching for anything, anyone, any book, any information I could get my hands on to take my life to the next level. Now, I encountered a group of information that essentially said to me, Nathan, which is, by the way, my name, nice to meet you if this is your first time here. So they said to me, Nathan, you say to me that you're not having success with your prayer. This is what they'd say. Say, Nathan, you're just not praying hard enough. If you're not happy in your life, if you're not succeeding, if the prayer that you're doing isn't working, what it is, Nathan, is that you're not praying hard enough. Now, my friend, I'm here to tell you that there is an important distinction that you and I make to really take our lives to the next level. If you're trying to chop down a fully grown tree with a spoon, I promise you that hitting the tree harder with the spoon will not work, okay? Pray harder is like telling somebody to try to chop down a tree with a spoon. You just have to hit it harder. When the reality of the situation is that we don't need to do it harder. We don't need to do it more. What we need to understand is what is the proper tool. Because if you take a chainsaw or an axe to a tree, you will break ground. You will receive the fruits of your labor. Prayer is no different. So we need to make a distinction immediately, okay? The answer is not pray harder, pray more. The answer is, if we are not succeeding with something that we are doing in our life, there is clearly some kind of misunderstanding that is happening. If we understood, if we were wielding the tools correctly with anything, not just prayer, then we would be breaking ground. You would be getting results. So we need to understand that in any place in our life, not just with prayer, but this can be a life lesson for all of us here. If we're not getting results, the answer is not keep doing what you're doing harder and more. The answer is maybe take a step back and see, what could I be doing differently? Now, a wise teacher named Guy Finley once told me in a book that absolutely changed my life called The Power of Letting Go. Guy Finley says to me in his writings, he says, whenever you give your power to something that you do not yourself understand the nature of what it is, when you don't understand the workings of it, what it really is that you're giving your power to. Well, he said that when you give your power to something like that, it now has power over you. When we give our power to something that we understand what's really taking place, what it really is, then the power that we give comes back to us tenfold. Now, I've seen this to be true all across my life, and that's just anecdotal evidence. But this is why now what I'm going to share with you is an actual research study that took place about 50 years ago. But I find that the research is absolutely still relevant today. Here's what the research showed. 3 groups of children were taken. One group of the children was told about all the things that they did so well that year in school. They were pumped up. They were, oh, you were so amazing at this. Wow, you did so great at that. You were incredible this year. Oh my gosh, right? Really positive feedback. Essentially, this group of children, we'll say this is group A, was told all the amazing things, very optimistic, very pumping them up, basically placing into the minds of this group of children that they are outstanding. Truly outstanding people. Now, the second group, Group B of the children, was told the negative things that they did that year. Things were pointed out to them about things that they didn't do great, things that needed to be done better, and was told in a pretty negative attitude. Group C of the children weren't told anything. They were actually just ignored. They weren't told anything that they did good. They weren't told anything that they did bad. They were just left to their own faculties, right? No, basically nothing was done to this group. It was a control group, essentially. Now, here's the interesting findings from this research. Group A, the group that was told really positive things, improved the quality of their work their grades, their attitudes at school, their relationships got better, their health got better. These studies revealed that not only did their school grades improve, but their lives in all the areas improved. Massively, huge margins. It was incredible. Now, the group that was told negative things they did, here's the interesting thing. They actually found that they had a % of improvement across the board. So they did improve, but it was minimal in comparison to the group that was told how great they did. Here's the interesting thing. Group C, that wasn't told anything, that was essentially ignored and not spoken to, there was no change at all. Interesting. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because the power of prayer, when we give our power to it, if we don't really understand what's happening, then we're not really getting any power in return. We're just giving our power to something, someone up in the sky, some facility in our universe that we can't make sense of. But I believe that we can make sense of it, at least as much as we can on the human level, so that we can keep the power in our lives in a way that is effective, that actually benefits us. Here's what I see from this study, and here's what I've seen when it comes to prayer. Prayer is a means of going within ourselves and affecting our own mental attitudes about life. Prayer is a way to create internal changes within ourselves. You see, because when a child is programmed into their mind, which we see in this study, that they are amazing, that they're outstanding, that things are going to go great for them in their life. That's what they were told. Things are going to go great for you because you are really a great person. Look at all you've accomplished this year so far. The amazing thing is that their life started taking off incredibly, so much more abundance, success, joy, health, well-being in every area. This is the power of prayer. Prayer is a means to go within ourselves and affect our mental attitude. It's a way to, just like these children expected that they would be great because that's what they were told, prayer is a means for us to create a new expectation within ourselves that we are great, that things are going to go great, that our finances are going to get better, that our relationships are going to get better, that our health is going to get better. These are the three most common things that people pray for. These are the three most common things that people have shown interest in: money, love, and health. With each of these categories, when we pray, what we are essentially doing is creating an expectation within ourselves. Why we generate this expectation is usually due to belief or faith in a higher power. What I hope to accomplish in this video is to help you to understand that this higher power is you. You are this power that you're praying to. You're praying to something outside of yourself to make something better. But what we need to realize so that this power will really work for us is that we are that power. It's you. It is your very decision to go within yourself and create a new expectation that things are going to get better for you in your life. You see this? Because when we expect that things are going to get better for us in our life, I want to make this a really grounded conversation that you can see is true, that you can see where it's real and how it applies. If you expect that you are a great student, if you believe this about yourself, then you are going to show up and behave differently in school. We actually show up, we study, because we believe we are a good student. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You could say it's a placebo effect, and yet it works. Because the fact of the matter is when you believe in yourself, you show up to life and you do more, you give it your all. Now, believing in yourself doesn't necessarily mean that you will win at everything. And this is a distinction we need to make because a lot of people get mad about prayer when it doesn't work for them. Now, here's what we need to understand. If I pray tonight with absolute belief that tomorrow I'm going to be able to perform lung surgery on you. Let's say you've got some issue with your lungs, okay? I've got to cut you open and do lung surgery on you. I don't even know if that's a real thing. Lung surgery, have you heard of this? Not until now you hadn't. But hey, if tomorrow I needed to perform lung surgery on you, the fact of the matter is that if I show up with a really positive mental attitude, with faith, with belief, because I prayed, because I accessed my mind and my heart, and I convinced myself I was going to do a good job, The fact of the matter is it's highly likely you would die on the surgical table, because I don't have any practice. I don't have any knowledge about surgery, let alone lung surgery. So what we need to understand is that prayer, the ability to create new expectations within ourselves, it's not going to move a mountain, so to speak. It's not going to change everything in your life. It doesn't work that way. But what it does do is help you to change anything in your life that you want to. Because when you have negative expectations of yourself, like I'm a bad student, you're not even gonna study. You're not even gonna pay attention in class. You see this? So of course you're gonna get bad grades, because your expectation of yourself is that that's all you'll amount to. The power of prayer is about creating new expectations within ourselves. When you expect greatness of yourself, you start showing up and actually taking that chance, taking that charge. Here's the problem with prayer that a lot of people experience. Prayer must always be backed by a real shift. And a real shift always creates what? What does a real shift create in your life? When you genuinely create a new expectation, what happens for you? Well, it's simple. I know you know this. What happens for you is that you begin taking new sorts of action in your life. Effective prayer equals must be followed by effective action. If you place an expectation that I'm gonna lose 100 pounds this year because maybe you're obese or having some weight issues, the fact is if you show up and you pray for that and then you just eat the same foods, you do the same routine every day, you're not gonna lose the weight. It doesn't work that way. But when you create a true expectation within yourself that I will lose 100 pounds this year, period, that's it. I have this expectation of myself. The funniest thing happens. You start doing research online. You start reading books from people who accomplished that. You start learning what it is that you need to know that you didn't know before about habits, about your self-image. So you learn to start seeing yourself as a fit person. And you wanna know what plate you choose to eat? The healthy one. And you wanna know why? Because you have the true expectation that you are a healthy person now. And you will lose the weight. This is how we create 100% success with our prayers. It has always been this simple. But for us to realize how simple it is, we need to stop having it be some far out conversation that's impossible to relate to and understand. Because when you pray to some power, when you give your power to something that you don't understand, you give your power away. And I want you to understand that to create true success in your life, you need to wield the power that you have right now in this moment. You need to wield it, not give it to something else, not give it to someone else. Keep it for yourself and decide to show up and intelligently understand how to use it more effectively in your life. Now, I believe that if you're still here listening to this video, that you are a special kind of person. And yeah, that might sound a little bit self-serving to myself to just expect that because you like this video, you must be smart. But just to be honest, so that I'm not hiding anything, that is honestly what I think. The way that I think, the way that I'm coming at my life is very clear, it's very powerful, and I am experiencing major shifts. So I know that for you to be able to follow this conversation and understand it and have the willingness to keep listening to this long video in a world where most people click off a video after 14 seconds, max. Did you know that? Well, as a YouTuber who has access to analytics and has done a lot of research, oh, that's the truth, all right. Most people click off of a video in a matter of seconds. They don't even give it a chance, right? Why do you think things like TikTok or Tinder or things like this are so popular? Because people have short attention spans. People don't know how to stay with something long enough to achieve real success in their life. If you want real success with a relationship, you can't just quit when things don't go the way you want them to. You gotta stick with it longer. It's always good practice in your life to make things work. You're here. You want to make it work. And that's why I know that you are nearly 80 times more likely than the average person to have prayer work for you. You are 80% more likely to experience real, genuine success in your life because you want to make it work. Creating change is actually really simple. But for it to be simple, you have to understand that that doesn't mean it's easy. You see what I'm saying? Creating change isn't necessarily easy, but it is simple. And the simple truth is that you have to show up every single day and care. You have to care enough about yourself. You have to care enough about your life, your future. You know, I made a distinction 4 years ago in 2020, about a month before the whole pandemic thing happened, right? That's just a place marker for you, by the way, so you know. It was about a month before that, I started my YouTube channel. I'd never done anything like this before. I was a waiter, I was living in LA, I was real struggle in pretty much every area of my life, my health, my relationships, substance abuse I was struggling with, just not in a great place. And I had this moment of realization. I thought, man, you know, about 8 years ago, this is what I said to myself, I decided I wanted to learn to play the guitar. And I wasn't great at it at first. Honestly, in the beginning, it was kind of frustrating and annoying because I heard all this incredible music, symphonies in my mind, all these songs coming to me. I was always a very musical-minded person, maybe you can relate. But when I picked up the guitar, all I got was, I heard this beautiful thing, I'd try to do it, and what I got back was, and that was frustrating. But the interesting thing was that I didn't give up. I showed up every day, I practiced, I learned, I reached out for more information on how to get better, and I showed up every day and I gave it everything I had. And what I realized was that because I made that decision 8 years ago, this is what I said 4 years ago, I'm an amazing guitar player now. And that realization, I never thought about it before, but it made me question, what could I start doing today in my life that my future self 8 years from now would be so grateful for? And I realized I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to experience this freedom within myself. I realized that years back in high school, I went to a motivational, inspirational seminar, and the guy on stage, something about it just clicked for me. I had never felt that kind of power before. And I didn't realize it, but a seed was planted in me that day. And I knew from that moment on what I wanted to do was speak to people the same way this guy was. I wish I could remember his name, man. I would write him a letter and thank him. And so I decided, I'm gonna start making YouTube videos. I'm gonna start practicing. I'm gonna start focusing. I'm gonna start learning as much as I can about success, motivation, abundance, manifestation, so that I can stand up on stage, so to speak, and share exactly the kind of thing he was sharing with me with others. And I went for it. And I promise you that that's the only reason I am where I am now. And I promise you the fact that I keep showing up every day the way that I am today, getting better, better, and better, putting everything I am into it. Years from now, can you imagine? Well, how about you don't waste your time imagining what my life will look like because of the way I make decisions and show up? How about instead you use your energy and your attention to think about what could you do? What could your life in the future look like? Could you see yourself being healthier? Could you see yourself being in a beautiful, loving relationship? Could you see yourself not just being debt-free, but being so financially abundant that you're buying a house for your parents? Hey, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. When I get that kind of money, oh yeah, you best believe. But it's not just a pipe dream for me. And this is what I wanna help you to make a distinguish in your life. I read books about financial information. I read books about how to get out of debt. I read books about how to effectively save, how to think about money, how to plan better in our lives, how to get to that place of being able to do amazing things like that for the people we love and care about. And that's why I'm gonna be able to make it happen one day, because I'm showing up each day and that is what I'm walking towards. But you wanna know where you end up in life? Wherever you're walking towards. And most people, I know this doesn't apply to you, and if it does, I know it won't after today, because I know something's clicking in you right now. I think that you feel it. I think you wouldn't be here anymore, still watching, if it didn't really make sense within you. If there was an incredible change waiting for you, oh, I don't think you'd be here, friend. I really don't. Most people spend their lives doing the exact same thing every single day, and they complain about the way things are, and they're unhappy. So they need medication, or they self-medicate, or their greatest joy in life is binge watching shows on the internet. speed dating, different hookup every week off of Tinder. And hey, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad that might be engaged in those habits. I know because I've been there. But I promise you that you can make a difference in your life, and prayer is a very powerful way to do it, but only if you understand that prayer is all about creating a new expectation within yourself, but it must be backed by you showing up and making new kinds of decisions in your life. You gotta eat better. You gotta learn how to sleep better. You gotta learn how to motivate yourself better. And I know that nobody creates any sort of real change in their lives without inspiration and motivation. So I do hope that this video gave some of that to you, but remember, it means nothing if you just wake up tomorrow and do the same thing over and over again. How about you decide to show up tomorrow, first thing in the morning you wake up, how about you choose to do something new? How about you change your routine? How about you add something into it that you know will better your life? Whether it be practicing an instrument, reading a book, going for a jog, whatever it is to you, do it. And then do it the next day, and the next, and the next. And as you do this, you grow this muscle of this willingness to create real change in your life. And just like working out the gym, our muscles grow bigger as we use them. Your willpower muscle, your caring about your life, your ability to change your life muscle, it grows. And you become so strong that you get to a point, and I know this from personal experience, that's where I'm speaking to you from. My personal experience, I can tell you honestly, that you get to a point where things just, they can't get you down anymore. They can't push you into a negative space. Things can't take control of you anymore. The noise of life, the negativity around you, it just can't reach you because you have grown a muscle that makes you so strong that nothing can stop you. But just like a muscle at the gym, if you stop working out, eventually your muscle shrinks, it atrophies. In other words, use it or lose it, my friend. That is the power of prayer. Thanks. Much love to you. If you want to check out Vibes and Frequencies services, I've got those tagged in the description for you, and I do hope to see you for the next video. See you soon.